Last weekend was there was a lot of good things. I think similar to the first weekends against Bowling Green. You learn some things. You have a little success, and then kind of keep moving from there. I thought Friday night's game was real exciting. I think fans liked it. Whenever there's 10 goals scored in a game, hopefully you're the team that gets 6. But the guys did a lot of good things. From getting a lead was good, and then finding yourselves behind and coming back, I thought was outstanding. And then the second night was a completely different kind of game. Low scoring. It was a real battle. I think it was maybe equally as fast, which I kind of liked. So we've had a real physical series, a real fast series. But overall, I think the consistency of the guys, in terms of how they've approached the game, how they've battled through, how they've kept their poise, I think has been really, really valuable. And we're going to find ourselves in a lot of close games, I have a feeling, this year. And we may as well get comfortable playing in them.
Dan, what's your take on so far the first 2 weeks of the season with defensive zone coverage and just overall how your defensemen have been playing?
I think there's been a pretty good evolution. I think every game you play, especially early in the season, there's certain things that are exposed that you got to work on, that you have to have automatics on in terms of closing and switching and transition defensively. And those things have presented themselves, and the guys have been able to correct it and move on from there. So I've been pretty happy. I always look at scoring chances, and I think 3 of the 4 games we've been right around 10 against, which is an outstanding number. We were always, if we were under 15 in the American Hockey League, it was almost an automatic win. I mean, you just wouldn't lose. I mean, unless a lot of things went wrong. There's always exceptions. So, I always kind of use that with the NTDP. The first year we'd look at, being under 18. The second year under 15. If we were under 10 again, that was almost an automatic win. So when we were right around those, Western got over that a little bit the other day, but overall, we've done a good job. And I think, we've got to find a way that we're giving up under 3 goals a game, and we're trying to push up and score around 3, and we're right around that right now.
And any of the defensemen that have impressed you so far, as like?
Well, the young, Tommy Miller has come in as a true freshman and been very, very good, even better than I thought he would be. And I watched Tommy play all last year. I watched him practice with the other team. So he and Carson have done a great job. I think Mitch and Jared do a great job together. I think the best is yet to come for probably those guys. I think they're getting a feel for the ice time, a feel how to manage the game, and then Zach is doing a lot of good things, and I think we've thrown an awful lot at him, and in terms of trying to get a guy to change his game and his mentality, we've done a lot with him. But you know what? If Zach has a good game, we've probably got a good chance of winning the game. And he's real valuable to us. And when he figures all that out and all that kind of comes together, I think he can be really good for us. And then the other spot has been 3 guys who kind of rotating around and battling for some ice, and that's a good thing.
Dan, I've only been to half of one game, but I'm hearing about an energy in the crowd. Have you noticed that, and is it important with 5 of the next 7 at home to kind of keep that going so people who are resampling Michigan State hockey come back?
Yeah, that's I think on every level that you mentioned, I think it's important for the players. They feed off of that. I think the student section's been great. They've just really shown up. We had the band the one night. I mean, that's awesome. To the point where, hey, when it wasn't there on Midnight Madness night, that it was missed. But those are really good things. I think hey, you come to a game, it's exciting. The hockey's good. The crowd has some buzz, and I don't usually notice a lot on the bench. Music and PA announcers and fans, I don't really notice much, but the energy in the building's been really good, and I can only imagine what that's going to be like when we're selling out, and hopefully that's sooner rather than later, and people want to come back and see the guys play. And then lastly, for just what we want to build in here, that was one of our goals, and one of the 4 things I always talk about is make Munn really, really hard for the other team to play in. And if we have that energy and the same, if not more people, then we'll be able to achieve that.
What do you think that's about? No offense, but people aren't coming to watch you coach. What is the energy about?
No, they absolutely not. They're not coming to watch refs ref and coaches coach. I'll agree to both of those. I think that hockey's a fantastic game, and when it's played with passion and played with speed and played with commitment, and it's a good hockey game, I think people really like that. And everyone wants to see a win. I get that, but hockey is a game on the margins where if you're a little over 500, you're probably a pretty good hockey team. So I think they want to see that brand of hockey and that brand of passion out there, and see our guys compete with the best teams in the league. And if we can do that and we can sustain that for a while, then we'll get to our other goal, and that's being one of the best teams in the league.
One more kind of off the subject. I was interested last night on your radio show when you were talking about the great players you played with. I didn't realize you played with so many. In fact, you were asked to name your top 5, and you rattled off about 20.
Yeah.
To follow up, I'm wondering how that experience with playing with so many great players has helped shape you as a coach.
Yeah. Well, I just looked at myself as like kind of the Forrest Gump of hockey. I was just in a lot of really good places with a lot of really good people, and good things happened. You start to see, I think, as a coach, they always ask you about the coaches that you played for and that you're around, and certainly that shapes you. I think as a player, though, sometimes that shapes you more after you're done. I think Coach Mason had more influence on me after I left here than while I was here, and that's saying an awful lot. And especially once I started coaching and I was smart enough to call him and talk hockey with him. So I think that's predictable and obvious, and you talk about that because it's true. But those players, being around a guy like Chris Chelios and seeing how he prepared for the game, how he played the game, how coachable he was. I think I played with Chelly, and then in pro hockey a little bit. He ended up playing for me during the lockout year. But that guy was probably one of the more coachable guys I had. I was just a little bit younger, probably 6-7 years younger than Chelly, and have him come off and say, hey, in that situation, what do you want me to do? Like that mindset, it was unbelievable. And I tell you what, most of the real, there's some temperamental, really good players that don't want to listen to anybody, but for the most part, they want to be coached, they want to learn, and if you have their respect, then you can get that. So, playing with those, you look back at a Scott Stevens and Marty Brodeur and some of those guys, and Denny Savardly. You get to hang around Hall of Famers and see what they do. It's a pretty special thing, and you watch how they do it, and then now I'm trying to pass some of that stuff on, and hopefully some of these guys still remember who Scott Stevens and Denny Savard were or are.
Danton, your first line, the KHL line, I guess is what we're calling it now, had 58% of your points in the last series. As a coach, are you okay with that much scoring being concentrated on one line, or would you like to see it spread out a little bit more?
Well, yeah, you'd like to see it spread out, but you know what? That is what it is. If it's what we've really kind of trying to focus on really is the process in which we're going about it. And if that happens, and that a lot of that's driven by the power play success, which has been pretty good, that's okay. And if we have to lean on them, then that's all right. On the other side of that, if they have a night where they don't get 3 or 4 goals, then it would be like Saturday night. But we've got to get to the point. We've got a lot of young guys in the lineup, and they'll get over that hump. They'll start contributing, and they'll start going. And I think for me, we really haven't talked about scoring goals. We've talked about how you score goals. We haven't talked about that we have to get this many goals a game. We have to do these things right so that we can get to that point. And hopefully not boring everybody, but that process is important. And if I put that pressure on that, hey, this guy that's just getting here, you got to score goals, you got to do this. That'll probably be the last thing they do. Their confidence won't be any good, and they won't help us on the defensive end. So right now, we're looking at areas where we can find ways. And you know what? You can win a game by scoring 1 goal. So we'll start from there, and hopefully other guys contribute. And spreading it out is better, but we'll do what we got to do to win games, I guess.
Speaking of your power play operating at 25% through 4 regular season games, are you happy with where it's at right now, and what can it do to get better?
Very happy. What they've done a lot of good things, and not just the one group has been productive. I think the other groups have done a really good job, had some good chances. The retrievals have been excellent. I think patience and repetition. Probably some of the best advice I got as a young coach is what's needed with those groups, and they've just got to be through enough of those situations and keep figuring out how to enter the zone under control, how to get the puck back and how to get it set up, not turn down shots. I mean, there's a lot of basic things, but really, we can't hurt, you can't get ahead of the timeline. They have to go through those things, and we as coaches have to be patient with it and just say, you know what, they're going to mess some things up along the way, but if 90% of the things we're talking about they're doing right, at some point it'll work out. So that second and third group is going to score some goals for us. Good. Thanks, guys. Sorry about that.
Hey, Dan, how about Alabama Hunts?